The Galactic Council had always considered humanity a curiosity, a species barely worth the energy cost of the subspace transmission required to contact them. When Ambassador Zethrak of the Volthian hierarchy first arrived on Earth in 2187, his report had been dismissive at best, contemptuous at worst. Fragile carbon-based life forms, he'd written in his official assessment. Average lifespan of merely 80 solar cycles, bone structure comparable to dried vegetation, musculature inadequate for any meaningful labor, cognitive capacity limited to basic problem-solving. Recommendation: observe from distance, do not engage for military or industrial partnership. The report had circulated through the Council's 700-member species, generating the equivalent of intergalactic laughter. Humanity became a punchline. The soft-bodied bipeds who broke their own bones from simple falls, who required constant sustenance, who died from mere temperature variations that other species found comfortable. Anna Kowalski had read that report 1,000 times. Each reading made her jaw tighten with barely suppressed rage. She stood now in the command center of the UTSS Perseverance, Earth's first true warship, watching the tactical display with eyes that had seen too much in her 32 years. "Contact in 40 seconds, Lieutenant David Chen announced from the navigation station, his fingers dancing across holographic controls with practiced precision. Volthian Dreadnought, Infinite Supremacy. Mass, 40,000 tons. Crew complement, estimated 200. Anna allowed herself a cold smile. "Shields." "Holding at 97%, Commander." The war had begun 6 months ago, not because humanity had wanted it, but because the Volthian hierarchy had decided that Earth's location, positioned at a strategic junction of 3 major hyperlane routes, was too valuable to leave in the hands of weaklings. They'd sent a fleet of 12 ships with an ultimatum: evacuate or be eradicated. Humanity had chosen a third option. The Perseverance had been built in secret, constructed in the asteroid belt far from prying sensors. While the galaxy had dismissed humans as fragile and weak, they'd failed to account for one critical factor: a weak species doesn't survive. It adapts. 30 seconds, David called out. His dark eyes met Anna's across the bridge, and she saw in them the same determination that burned in her own chest. They'd both lost family in the initial bombardment of Luna Station, his parents, her brother. This wasn't just duty anymore. This was personal. The Volthian Dreadnought appeared on the view screen, a massive wedge of black metal bristling with plasma cannons. It dwarfed the Perseverance by a factor of 10. According to every military analysis the Council had ever produced, the smaller human vessel should have been vaporized within seconds of engagement. Anna touched her comm badge. "All hands, this is Commander Kowalski. Remember your training, remember Luna Station, remember that they called us weak." She paused, watching the dreadnought begin its attack run. "Show them what weak really means. Engage." The Perseverance rolled 90 degrees on its axis, a maneuver that would have liquefied the internal organs of most galactic species. Humans, it turned out, could endure remarkable G-forces when properly trained and equipped. The inertial dampeners helped, but even without them, human pilots had proven capable of withstanding accelerations that would kill a Volthian instantly. David's fingers flew across his console. Railgun batteries 1 through 4 firing. Tungsten projectiles, accelerated to a significant fraction of light speed, screamed across the void. The Volthians had shields designed to deflect energy weapons, plasma, lasers, particle beams. They'd based this on the assumption that any spacefaring species would use the sophisticated weapons that the Council preferred. They hadn't expected rocks thrown very, very fast. The railgun rounds punched through the Infinite Supremacy's shields like they weren't there, because to kinetic weapons, they essentially weren't. Atmosphere vented from 3 hull breaches. The dreadnought's return fire went wide as the ship reeled from the unexpected damage. "They're hailing us," the communications officer reported, surprise evident in her voice. On screen, Anna ordered. Commander Vaxthal appeared, his crystalline features sharp with what Anna had learned to recognize as Voltian shock. "This is impossible. Your primitive kinetic weapons are exactly as effective as physics says they should be," Anna interrupted. "The question is, Commander, why did your people assume we wouldn't use them?" The answer, she knew, was arrogance. The Galactic Council had developed energy shields millennia ago and had built their entire military doctrine around them. When a Voltian fought another Council species, it became a battle of shield strength versus weapon output. Kinetic weapons were considered barbaric, primitive, beneath the dignity of advanced civilizations. Humanity had read the tactical assessments and immediately saw the gap in galactic military thinking. Vaxthal's expression hardened. "You may have damaged one ship, human, but the fleet is currently being engaged by the rest of our task force," David interjected, pulling up tactical data. "7 of your 12 ships are already disabled. 3 more are attempting to retreat. Your flagship and 1 escort are all that remain combat capable in this sector." Anna watched the Voltian commander process this information, saw the exact moment when arrogant certainty cracked into genuine fear. It was the same expression she'd seen on Ambassador Zethrak's face when he'd been captured 2 weeks ago, when he'd finally understood what his people had missed. Humans were weak. Their bodies broke easily. They died from things that other species shrugged off. They had pitifully short lifespans and required constant maintenance just to survive. But weakness breeds ingenuity. Fragility demands innovation. And a species that had clawed its way up from the bottom of its own planet's food chain, that had survived ice ages and plagues and predators, that had looked at the stars and decided to reach them despite having no natural adaptations for space, that species was not going to roll over for anyone. "We studied you," Anna said quietly, leaning forward in her command chair. "Every species in the Council. We read your histories, analyzed your tactics, understood your assumptions. You know what we learned." Vaxthal said nothing. "You've all been fighting each other for so long you forgot how to fight dirty. You have rules of engagement, codes of military honor, established protocols. You fight wars like sporting matches with referees." Anna's smile was predatory now. "We fight wars like we're trying to survive them." The Perseverance fired again, this time targeting the Dreadnought's engines. More tungsten rounds, more holes in shields that weren't designed to stop them. The Voltian ship went dark, power flickering as its reactor struggled to maintain output. "We don't have energy shields," Anna continued, "so we built our ships with layered armor and compartmentalization. Every section can be sealed off and every crew member trained for vacuum exposure. We can take damage and keep fighting." David pulled up another tactical display. "We don't have your plasma weapons, so we used missiles with nuclear warheads, technology you abandoned 10,000 years ago as crude. Except they work beautifully when your point defense systems aren't calibrated for projectile velocities. And we certainly don't have your superior strength or durability," Anna added, standing now, her voice carrying the weight of 6 months of continuous combat. "But we have 4 billion people willing to crew ships, willing to fight, willing to die if necessary, because you came to our home and called us weak while you tried to exterminate us." She gestured to the communications officer. "Send the terms to Commander Vaxthal. Unconditional surrender of all Voltian forces in this sector, immediate withdrawal of all claims to Terran space, and most importantly, a formal apology to be delivered to the Galactic Council, acknowledging that you underestimated humanity." The comm channel closed. Anna watched the tactical display as, one by one, the remaining Voltian ships powered down their weapons and activated their distress beacons. Around Earth's solar system, across a dozen different engagement zones, the same pattern repeated. The invasion fleet that had come to conquer the weak humans was surrendering. David stood from his station, moving to stand beside Anna at the viewscreen. The council is requesting a conference. They want to renegotiate humanity's status. Anna laughed, the sound sharp and bitter. I'm sure they do. Now that we've proven we can defend ourselves, suddenly we're worth talking to. What do we tell them? She considered for a moment, watching the disabled Voltian dreadnought tumbling slowly through space, a monument to galactic arrogance and human determination. We tell them the truth. Yes, humans are weak, our bodies are fragile, we break easily, we die young. Anna turned to face her crew, men and women who had proven themselves against impossible odds, who had taken humanity's weaknesses and forged them into weapons. But we're also survivors, and we don't forget. The message would go out across the galaxy within hours. The species that had been dismissed as too weak to matter had just fought the Voltian hierarchy to a standstill. The implications would reshape galactic politics for generations. As for humanity, they would remain weak in body, but the galaxy was learning, slowly and painfully, that weakness was never the end of the story. Sometimes it was just the beginning.